Hi, Saurabh. Thank you so much for joining on Blitz Business. Good to have you.
Hi, Ashish. Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Let's get started. So, Saurabh, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I graduated from National Institute of Design in 2004, and since then, I've just been doing one thing, and that is designing digital interfaces. For the first 12 years, was working with an American firm based in India. And then 7 years ago, we started our own thing. It's called ZEUX Innovation, and we are a UX design studio catering to clients all over the world, and essentially helping them do design-led digital transformations. So, in a nutshell, that's what I do. Outside of work, I'm also a musician. I am a very keen sports person. Like I'm very passionate about tennis these days. So that's me in
So,
a nutshell.
basically, you are a very creative person.
That's what my focus has been for 2 decades. Yes.
So, tell us more about your company, how you guys started, what was the problem statement you were looking to solve, because
Yeah.
most of the times the question we get is, how do we even know what to start, begin with? So,
Yeah.
you had clarity key, this is what I wanted to do. How was it?
You know, when I graduated out of National Institute of Design, I kind of fell into user experience, which is what this field is called, user experience design. I kind of fell into it because we had a program within my course at NID which introduced me to designing for digital interfaces. And back in 2004, this was very new, a discipline that focused on designing tangible things, which was called tangible back then, like chairs and spaces and physical products. And so when early 2000s, this whole digital focus started, NID started this first program that led me into this field. And I joined this American firm, which made me fall in love with this. And so when I decided to start ZEUX Innovation, I kind of already knew that I wanted to start in this area. But how was it going to be different from what I had done with this American company? One thing I was very clear about is that I want design to make a difference, to businesses. Something people obviously consider valuable, but they find it very hard to measure what impact design is making, right? And this is something that I was very bothered by in the first 12 years of my career, that when you show a design, people like it, they clap, then you walk away, and then nobody has any idea, has it helped the business? Has it helped the bottom line? So one thing I was very clear about I wanted to solve is I wanted to do design in an outcome oriented way. If you'd help somebody design something better, ultimately it should make a difference. And so our focus became outcome oriented user experience design. And that's the specific problem I wanted to solve.
So, Saurabh, give us a sense of what some of your work, what all you have designed.
So we've had whole eclectic mix of clients over the last 7 years, and even before, when I was working with an American firm. But most recently, I would say all the big banks in India. We've done various projects with them. Uh, a lot of cutting edge startups like Dream 11, and Fab India is something that we recently worked on. We've also worked on the Discovery Plus OTT app, and when it got launched, it was the highest rated OTT on the App Store. So that's something we're very proud of. We've also done a whole bunch of work for the Reliance Group, the Tata Group, and a lot of work for the EdTech space. So most recently, we did a learning experience design for a company that teaches people music online. And it was an interesting project for me because it allowed me to leverage two of my skill sets: user experience design and music. And that's a combination that is very hard to find usually, so that gave me kind of a special edge on that project. And after the project got completed, we submitted it for an international award, so we won the Red Dot Design Award for that this year, which is a globally recognized award. And so that's the one success story from 2023 that I'm very happy about.
So tech companies are still coming back, or they have cut back their budgets?
Yeah, yeah. So I think obviously there's been a slowdown, and a lot of them are trying to just kind of optimize right now, just consolidate their positions. So right now, yeah, it's kind of status quo. Everybody's in limbo as far as the ed tech space is concerned. But I think in the last 6 months we've worked more with large incumbents than with you know startup challengers because of the way the startup environment has been.
And you guys have raised any funding, or it's kind of a business which don't require funding? Like, give us a sense of.
Um, so we are a privately held company. So far, it's completely bootstrapped, um, owned by me and my co-founder. And I mean, we haven't really felt the need to raise any money right now. We could. It's not something that you don't want to do or you don't need. But you know, we didn't want to raise money for the sake of raising money or for to gain some bragging rights. I think our whole point of view was we want to raise money uh, more to get on board a strategic partner who would align with our vision for what we want to do with design, what kind of problems we want to solve, and complement our abilities and help us break into new markets or accelerate our sales growth. And whenever the right kind of partner comes along, we'd be more than happy to have that conversation. But so far, we've been very happily independent. And, there's I guess, a very big relief in being in charge of your own destiny, which
But
becomes difficult when you have many stakeholders.
is it easy for to raise for a service business funding? Not now, but
Mm,
like in the.
Yes and no. I would say, if you're a service business in the right place at the right time, offering the right kind of value, and if you've seen growth and you have a standing in the market, yeah, I think enough people would want to come and have those conversations, and we've had several conversations like that, at least two or three conversations every year. But we've been very choosy. And it's because, Ashish, we don't, we're not really desperate for raising the money, and so we can afford to be very picky about it. Uh, Overall, I think, yeah, product businesses tend to attract investment more easily because there's a obvious kind of notion that product businesses scale more. They don't have high people costs that increase year on year. And for those reasons, yes, product businesses tend to be more lucrative for the investor community. But I think if you have the right kind of service offering, then I'm sure enough people want to have that conversation.
So in this business, or what is the most challenging aspect?
So, Ashish, in any service business, the product is essentially people, right? So, I would say there are two main challenges. One is to find the right talent and invest in them and train them and turn them into designers. I mean, India is still a market that doesn't churn out designers, right? It's There are few design colleges. Those graduates are when they do come out, they're not ready to start doing high quality design work. So first, it's hard to find the right people. Then it's a lot of work to turn them into designers that actually can deliver high quality work. So one challenge is on the talent side. The other challenge sometimes is, design is a very complicated topic, and so there are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to dealing with design, right, and design expertise. So a lot of people sometimes will hire you, or they will hire me, and then have a lot of misconceptions around specific design decisions. For example, they will want a specific kind of color palette, or they will want to render the interfaces in a certain way, and they will think that those things don't matter, and they think design is just about preference or about common sense. And so sometimes it becomes really hard to explain to my clients that every pixel on a screen makes a difference. It has an impact on business. And so these decisions can't be made purely on personal preference. So that sometimes becomes a bit of a challenge. But I mean, on the flip side, I also think that is why there's an opportunity, right? Because when there is misconception, there is chaos, and that specific chaos is what I'm trying to solve, and that's why I have a business. So,
I
I
think I can correlate to this, Saurabh, because um, we were redoing our office. We were redoing our office, and the color of the carpet and the interior, I was like, this is all same to me. I have zero clue what you guys are saying. They're like option one, two, three, four. I like no clue. All look same.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So there's a lot of science that goes behind every little design decision, and there's a lot of best practice. And my job often is to help people become aware that design is not, first of all, just about putting paint on something, right? One of the things that frustrates me most, the one single sentence that frustrates me most is UX is just about colors or buttons. I mean, that couldn't be further from the truth, right? And I think that kind of shallow understanding of UX is sometimes the biggest enemy of this field. So yeah, I think we've come a long way, but there's still a long way to go to help people truly appreciate what is user experience design, how does it help, and what does it entail.
But isn't it true like AI is coming after your jobs or making your life easier? Has it impacted your business in some way?
So, Ashish, I've obviously had a lot of time to think about this question over the last 6 months, ever since ChatGPT came on the scene and Midjourney came on the scene. And at in the first month, you could see there was a lot of fear in the design community, also in the coding community, and in many other sectors. That fear slowly became kind of curiosity, right? And so we at Zook started kind of really exploring the tools and seeing what is the output they can give us. And that curiosity then became awareness, where you realized, okay, what is the level of output that AI tools can actually give you? And after that, it became kind of acceptance. So where are we today with our understanding? I think it's like this, right? If you take great football shoes. I'm going to give you a football analogy because I'm a sports guy. If you take the world's best football shoes and give it to an average football player, will he play like Ronaldo? He wouldn't, right? But if you take the world's best football shoes and give it to Ronaldo, yeah, he'll be even more amazing. So the the world's best football shoes in this case are AI tools. If you put AI tools in the hand of average designers, the output will still be average. But if you put AI tools in the hands of great designers, then you are actually enabling them to churn out even more powerful things. So instead of fearing I feel it's an awesome thing that allows designers to brainstorm faster, be more efficient, explore many more options much more quickly than before. And it's kind of like what Photoshop did for us, 20 years ago. It's same with AI. Does that make designers obsolete? Not yet. Because right now, I think as far as user experience design is concerned, any AI generative tool can't really give you a finished output. It can basically give you some conceptual input, which you can then use as a starting point, but it can't really deliver anything beyond that. So right now, my job is safe, and I think for the next 5 years, technology changes so fast, I can't think beyond five. But I think for 5 years, I don't have to worry about it, from an existential standpoint. uh, I will definitely see that as a tool or a weapon in my armory that I can use to become even more effective.
So,
Go ahead, Ashish.
question: what worries you, sort of, apart from technology, in the coming 5 years?
I think one thing that any service business owner will worry about is how do you scale, especially when there is a talent challenge. Um, and when people costs keep going up, and obviously every area like this gets competitive, and so there's always a talent war out there. So the challenge always is, okay, first find great talent, second retain them, third, you know it's one thing to deliver um, d- quality design and have a cohesive culture when you are a 50 people company, but will you be able to hold on to that essence when you are 150? And what changes will happen at that scale? Will it dilute your excellence in any way? I think those things I tend to think about, because if you really look at design houses across the globe, design houses generally tend to remain small because of the nature of their work, right? You will never hear of a 10,000 people design company. So they tend to be this small group of talented individuals that come together to deliver work in a very involved, collaborative way. So it's very hard to turn our work into some sort of a factory line output. And so it's very hard to scale it. It's still very manual, still very, um, I would say, fluid. And so, how do you take this business and make this? I wouldn't even say five. How would you make this a 5,000 people company?
So,
That's
do you ever wonder, sort of, to launch a product or something to scale, or
Yeah,
is it?
yeah, we did, and that's exactly why in 2020 we launched a sister company, and we kind of incubated this sustainability startup called Loopify. And it was an e-commerce platform, and we've built so many e-commerce platforms for others. We thought, well, it's time we built our own. And obviously we wanted to have this twin engine service product kind of complement, uh, which because we knew that would be a much better way to go and scale. So 2020, we launched Loopify. It's a zero plastic, all natural gifting marketplace. And we, over the last 3 years that it's existed, have sold over 3 lakh zero plastic products to largely corporates. Right now, our main channel is B2B, but our goal is to help people live a more plastic free life, because plastic is a huge problem in the world, not just our country. And so, yeah, that exact question led us to Lipify. Why not just do a product? Because we have the skill set to make something, to design it, and so we did. And so we run both those companies right now, and it's really satisfying to see where Lipify has come in just 3 years.
Is it as profitable sort of as the other company?
Loopify, um, as is an e-commerce business, I'm sure you know, Ashish, it's very hard to
Yeah.
make money in e-commerce. But I'm happy to tell you that this year, this financial year, we're actually going to make a profit. We're going to be profitable this end of this financial year. So by March end, we will have made a little bit of money. But to be able to turn a profit within 3 years of an e-com startup is unheard of. And this is also something that is completely bootstrapped. I mean, obviously, ZEUX was the first investor for Lupify. So we are very proud that we've reached this milestone. And of course, moving forward, we want to really focus on building, you know, the, the interesting thing is this is a sustainability startup, right? But you also have to do business in sustainable ways. I've always felt that the startup ecosystem and the way it runs after VC money and valuations was never really focused on being sustainable, right? Or making prudent business choices. It was all about chasing a number, a valuation number, which was paper money at the end of the day. So our focus for both Zoox and Lopify has always been run businesses to focus on making real money. Uh, it's okay to be under the radar and not, trying to make it to news articles bragging about how much money you've raised or what your valuation is, but to, turn a real profit and to make sound financial decisions. And we don't believe in this whole blitz scale philosophy where the foundation is so weak that your blitz scale startup topples over eventually. And there are many examples of that today.
Do you find it difficult to run two companies sort of now?
Yeah, no, it is difficult. Um, However, the good news is they are perfectly complementary, right? So as a UX service provider, my job is to advise clients on how to build products, right? And you would know, Ashish, that a lot of great consulting companies consult people on how to build products and they've never built a product of their own. How do you consult with people and advise them on building products if you've never built one of your own, if you've never seen what it actually takes? So Loopify makes me a better consultant, right? And Zoox helps make Loopify better. So both kind of work for each other. So our design talent feeds into Loopify, and our Loopify experience feeds into the advice we give to clients every day. Only after we started Loopify did I really feel humbled by how difficult it is to actually create a product. Before that, I used to advise clients and I used to be very critical of the product design decisions they would make. And I would be like, oh, you're not listening to me. But I realized the reality of some of the decisions that you have to make and what happens behind the scenes. Consultants always have this luxury of being at arm's length from something they recommend. But when you actually have to see that hit the ground and see the impact of it throughout the entire end to end of that product life cycle, I think it's very, very humbling and definitely makes Zoox even better at delivering outcomes. Because when we advise, we know what we're talking about because we've done it.
Yeah. And one point just came to my mind, sort of, you mentioned earlier, KPI driven, in terms of, so how do you do that? Because in software world, you can do A/B testing. You are like,
Yeah.
if I change this button placement color, this much traffic is driven. So, but in your case, how does it work?
So,
Yes.
so Ashish, that's a great question. So I'll give you an example. So, there was a startup that came to us, or 2 years back, 3 years back, White Hat Junior. Uh, they were acquired by Byju's later on, but they used to teach coding to kids, right? And one of the challenges was that they used to give a free trial class for people to try it out and then see if they like it, and then so they had a very low percentage of people who would take the trial class and then actually buy the class. And so one of the challenges that we were given is the founder said to me, Saurabh, I want to convert more people from the trial class. Okay, that was challenge number one. The second challenge was once they take a few classes, let's say 4 classes, after the 4 classes end, they should take 4 more or take 20 more, right? So they should actually, the number of classes they take and the amount of money they spend with us should increase. No, that's just this. I'm simplifying the challenge. But when we did the whole UX intervention and we applied all of our science and best practice, their revenue growth was 8 times of what it was before our UX design, new design went live. 8 times, which meant many more kids signed up after the trial class, and many more kids continued to take class after class after class because of the new experience we delivered. That's an example of how you deliver outcomes, right?
You are
So,
the reason for White Hat Junior crazy valuation.
but I think there are many things. Yes, I our work definitely helped them get to the next level very fast. But a lot of credit also goes to Mr. Bajaj, who was the founder, and his enthusiasm for what he was building. Of course, there were many other uh, aspects of White Hat Junior which caused other kinds of news, which was marketing related, which I had nothing to do with. But I think on the UX side, we definitely had a great time seeing White Hat Junior, get real benefit from doing user experience design.
Did they pay you in cash? I mean, or in equity?
Performance based. So, I've always suggested to clients, hey, instead of doing a fixed kind of business deal, let's do a performance based deal, right? So, I'm happy to put my neck on the line and stick my neck out and put my money where my mouth is and say, you pay me based on what I deliver. And they're all excited to hear that. Most of them back out because they realize they're going to actually end up shelling out more money. But the point is, and I think this is one of the hacks to running a great service business, that if you believe in the value you offer, don't be afraid to offer a performance based model, because that's when people realize, wow, this person really believes that they can deliver what they say they can. So I wish I had done a performance based model with White Hat Junior, but no, he he didn't do that.
Awesome, awesome. It was great to have you, Saurav. Any final words, thoughts to share with our listeners?
Yeah, so Ashish, the world is going through three big transitions, right? There is the digital transition, there is the energy transition towards more sustainability, and then there is the geopolitical transition where powers like India are becoming the next big thing. And ZEUX and Lupify operate in two out of those three. So I just feel that we are very privileged to be able to ride those transitions and be in the thick of the action. And I'm excited to see what the next 5 year holds, because I think those 5 years are exciting for India and exciting for digital and sustainability. So I would love to have another conversation in a few years from now, and see where we are.
Awesome. Definitely. We will invite you again, Saurav. Thank you so much for your time and insightful
Thank you, Ashish.
conversation.
It's my pleasure.